The void screamed, not with sound, but with a pressure that clawed at Captain Zarrar's skull. A silent cacophony that pulsed through the Ecliptic Dawn as it drifted in the uncharted fringes of the Orion Arm. The ship's hull groaned under the weight of nothing. Nothing for light, years, nothing but the faint static of dying stars and the oppressive sense that something was watching. Zarrar sat alone in the command bridge, his reflection distorted in the obsidian viewport, a gaunt figure in a galactic empire uniform that felt increasingly like a costume. His crew was below in cryosleep, their dreams undisturbed by the dread that gnawed at him. He hadn't slept in days. The mission logs glowed on the console, their sterile data failing to capture the creeping wrongness that had settled over the ship since they'd crossed into the Veil sector. 3 months ago, the Empire had detected an anomaly, a signal, faint but structured, emanating from a region no probe had ever returned from. It wasn't a language, not exactly, but a pattern that suggested intent. The Ecliptic Dawn was dispatched to investigate, a routine recon mission for a crew hardened by the galaxy's edges. Zarrar, a veteran of border wars and black hole surveys, had seen horrors. Planets glassed by ion storms, derelict ships crewed only by skeletons, but nothing like this. The signal wasn't just a beacon, it was a lure, and he felt it in his bones, though he couldn't say why. The crew had laughed it off at first, their bravado echoing through the mess hall. Now their laughter was a memory, drowned by the ship's unnatural silence. The first sign of trouble came a week into the Veil. The navigation AI, a system so reliable it was practically sentient, began to glitch. Star charts flickered, replaced by impossible geometries, spirals that twisted inward forever, coordinates that looped back on themselves. Zarrar recalibrated it manually, but the errors persisted, and soon the crew noticed. Engineer Lysa found fractal patterns etched into the ship's titanium hull, too precise to be corrosion, too alien to be human. Navigator Kren started muttering about angles that don't add up, his eyes bloodshot from staring at screens that seemed to stare back. Zarrar ordered them to focus, to ignore the anomalies, but he couldn't ignore the dreams. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw a vast, churning abyss, not black but wrong, a color that hurt to look at, and in it something moved. By the second month, the signal had grown louder, a rhythmic pulse that seeped into the ship's system. It wasn't audible, not in the way sound worked, but it vibrated in their teeth, their thoughts. The crew's morale frayed. Lysa stopped speaking, her hands trembling as she traced the fractal etchings, now spreading like veins across the ship's interior. Kren vanished for hours, found curled in a maintenance shaft, whispering about the edge of the map. Zarrar tried to maintain order, but the signal was inside them now, a parasite in their minds. He caught himself humming it once, a jagged rhythm that made his stomach lurch when he realized what he was doing. The Ecliptic Dawn was no longer a ship. It was a cage, hurtling towards something that didn't want to be found. Then they saw it, a structure, if you could call it that, floating in the void. It wasn't on any scan until it was, as if it had chosen to appear. It was immense, larger than a planet, a lattice of obsidian spires that twisted in ways that defied physics. It didn't reflect light. It *8*it, a silhouette against the stars that seemed to pull at Zarrar's vision, urging him to look closer, to fall into it. The signal was coming from there, undeniable now, a pulse that synchronized with his heartbeat. The crew gathered on the bridge, their faces pale, their eyes too wide. No one spoke, but Zarrar felt their fear, a shared terror that bound them tighter than any chain. He gave the order to approach, his voice steady despite the scream in his chest. The Empire demanded answers. He would get them or die trying. The closer they got, the worse it became. The structure wasn't just alien, it was wrong, a violation of reality itself. Its spires bent at angles that shouldn't exist, forming patterns that shifted when you blinked. The ship's sensors went haywire, spitting out data that made no sense. Temperatures below absolute zero, radiation that aged metal in seconds, time stamps that ran backward. Lysa, her voice a hoarse whisper, said it wasn't a structure but a wound, a tear in the fabric of the universe. Kren laughed, a brittle sound, and said it was a door. Zarrar didn't care what it was. He needed to know why it was here, what it wanted, and why it called to them. They docked, or rather, the structure let them dock. A section of its surface parted, revealing a tunnel that seemed to breathe, its walls pulsing with that same fractal pattern. Zarrar led a team inside, Lysa and Kren at his side, their suits feeling like paper against the oppressive weight of the place. The air was thick, not with gas but with intent, a presence that pressed against their minds. The tunnel stretched endlessly, its geometry folding in on itself, yet they moved forward, drawn by the signal's pull. Their footsteps echoed, but the echoes came from the wrong direction, as if something was walking behind them. Zarrar gripped his plasma rifle, its weight the only thing keeping him grounded. The tunnel opened into a chamber, vast beyond comprehension. It wasn't a room, but a cosmos, a space where stars burned cold and shadows moved with purpose. At its center floated a core, a sphere of liquid darkness that pulsed with the signal's rhythm. It wasn't technology, not in any sense Zarrar understood. It was alive, or something beyond life, and it saw them. Lysa screamed, her suit's vitals flatlining though she still stood. Kren dropped to his knees, babbling in a language Zarrar didn't recognize, his eyes reflecting something that wasn't there. Zarrar's mind buckled under the core's gaze, a flood of images he couldn't process. Galaxies spiraling into nothing, civilizations rising and falling in the blink of an eye, a vast intelligence that laughed at the concept of existence. He stumbled back, dragging Lysa and Kren with him, but the chamber wouldn't let them leave. The walls shifted, the stars above twisted into faces, not human, not alien, but wrong, their mouths opening in silent screams. The core spoke, not in words but in truths, each one a blade in Zarrar's soul. It told him the universe wasn't a place but a prison, built by entities so vast they made gods look like insects. Humanity was an accident, a glitch in the system, tolerated only because it was too insignificant to notice. But the Ecliptic Dawn had noticed, had crossed a line no species was meant to cross. And now the prison's wardens were awake. Zarrar's mind fractured under the weight of it. He saw the Empire's fleets reduced to ash, not by war, but by a thought, a casual gesture from something that didn't even care. He saw Earth, a speck of dust, swallowed by a darkness that wasn't darkness, but hunger. He saw himself, not as a captain but as a puppet, his every choice orchestrated by the signal, by the core, by the things that watched from beyond the stars. Lysa was gone now, her body standing but her mind erased, a hollow shell mouthing silent words. Kren was worse, his laughter echoing as he clawed at his suit, trying to tear it off, to join the map. Zarrar ran, or thought he ran, the chamber folding around him, the core's voice a tidal wave in his skull. He woke on the *Ecliptic Dawn* alone. The structure was gone, the viewport showing only stars, but the ship was wrong. The fractal patterns covered everything now, pulsing in time with his breath. The crew was in cryosleep, but their pods were empty, their faces pressed against the glass, smiling with too many teeth. The logs were corrupted, filled with entries he didn't remember writing. We are seen. We are known. We are nothing. The signal was still there, louder now, coming from inside him. He checked his suit's recorder, praying for proof, but the footage showed only static, interrupted by glimpses of himself standing in the chamber, speaking to the core in a voice that wasn't his. Zarrar set a course for Earth, though he knew it was pointless. The stars outside weren't right anymore, their light bending into patterns that matched the ones in his dreams. The Empire would demand a report, but what could he say? That reality was a lie. That humanity's existence was a cruel joke, sustained only by the indifference of things too vast to care. He laughed, a sound that echoed Kren's, and felt the signal pulse in his vein. The truth was worse than death. It was the knowledge that nothing mattered, that every struggle, every hope, was a flicker in the gaze of something that didn't even blink. As the *Ecliptic Dawn* drifted, Zarrar sat in the dark, the console's glow the only light. He didn't notice the stars fading, one by one, or the way the ship's hull began to hum, not with machinery but with intent. He didn't see the shadows moving in the corners, their shapes too vast for the room to contain. He only felt the signal, now a part of him, and the growing certainty that he wasn't alone. The universe was watching, and it was hungry. The moral wasn't in the knowing, but in the cost. To seek the truth is to invite the void, and the void does not forgive.